that was controversial. And this is a painful one to make because I was in Team 17's corner. I was hoping they'll do a nice home run, a nice 6, but unfortunately it was a wicket for the bowling team instead. So if you went on Reddit, you'll think a nuke just went off, based off what it's looking like. Now before we get in that juicy, nitty controversy, and this is not going to be a hateful video because I don't really like being ultra negative, you know, I'm a happy dude, but I'm going to brutalize Team 17 on this one because they didn't really hit out of the park as I was really expecting. Now before we get in that juicy, nitty gritty controversy, we have to look at the 2 new maps implemented in this update. First one we got, Alemain. And oh boy fellas, it is so nice to see some open sun and sand in this game. Going to the wet fields of Normandy, hallelujah. Just seeing that sand brings awe to the eyes, and for some of my fellow comrades in game, it might be a new experience for them. And you know, just for that, the map alone is up there, easily B or A tier. But if we, by breaking it down into smaller points of gameplay, which provides the most fun, a notable point about this map from a nice macro point of view would be how the cliffs create exciting gameplay opportunities. Specifically, how you fight around them, and that close quarters combat, I quite enjoyed, to be honest. Within the map, you know, I found a couple cool points that you want to look out for. Watchtower, Oasis, and Desert Rat Trenches were all my personal favourites from what I played so far. Watchtower is that nice long sightline. Oasis, because it's an oasis in the desert. How can you not like that? And the Desert Rat Trenches, as it highlights that interesting cliff gameplay I was talking about. The airfield was a bit disappointing, and it would have been nice to see Black Matter and Team 17 flesh that out a little bit more. Another disappointing of this map is the clear reuse of assets. I noticed too quickly for myself that many of the cliffs were just copy and pasted with the sand at different heights. In fact, when I was at the Watchtower point, I noticed all the rocky cliffs were just the same, and it was a damn tragedy, to be honest. Is that a failure of Black Matter? And shows they were just checked out towards the end? Their bags were packed? Their plane tickets were booked? And then we got the historical inaccuracies of this map. El Alamein did not look like this. The only real similarities to the landscape would be the airfields in the east and the cliffs on the west side, which goes against the original foundation behind the map design and strategic purpose of the game. I mean, if you look at the Hell Let Loose Kickstarter, it states, maps feature a stunning and detailed 1-to-1 scale battlefield recreated from archival reference material and satellite photography. As a result of this bizarre shift in map design, El Alamein has the consequence of feeling very video gamey, with each 2-column sectors featuring a new area of the map, which is not why I enjoyed the game in the first place. Even if I do enjoy the map itself, it goes against the design principles of the game. Then it's just another bizarre negative of this map is the goddamn performance. This map is worse than Stalingrad and borderline unplayable, to be honest. I mean, when I was recording the gameplay, my man was just walking for a meter, stopping. Like, the reloads weren't even working half the time. I'd reload and then I'd shoot a bullet and have to reload it again. It was quite odd. But then we got that nice little Driel map. You know, I've not played it too much, but what I saw, I quite enjoyed it. Now, thankfully, whilst El Alamein is a bit of a miss, Driel is a smash hit. Whilst its design is reminiscent of those Normandy maps in Remagen, it's still able to hold on to its own identity, since the map is not the dominant centre point of it, in the sense that you can cross anywhere along the river. It ensures Remagen, which I enjoy unlike everyone else on planet Earth, retains that core piece of its own identity, with the bridge on Driel serving as a nice centrepiece, with the sunset behind it, creating a nice little visual flair. Now, to put it simply, if you like your St. Mary's and Carantowns, you're going to be right at home here. As the fighting is that familiar hedgerows, but with some lovely flowers slotted in the mix. One absolute travesty of this map is the lack of enterable buildings, as they provide the necessary small tactical objectives for squads to attack or defend. And without this, You have to attack or defend small blocks of land. And unfortunately, these aren't substantial assets that we can own. So it's a damn tragedy that almost that tactical gameplay is kind of being lost on Driel. Because it's not that fun being like, boys, let's go attack this hedge grove, or, rather than, boys, let's go attack this house, lock down that sector. Bit of a shame, to be honest. And unfortunately, even this map has some historical inaccuracies. The Polish were the ones who fought on this, kind of battleground in real life, not the British. Which, to me is not the end of the world. As once you're in game, you don't notice, the British, you don't notice the Poles are missing. So it's like, not the end of the world. But it probably would have been more interesting to an Arden map, Because that's a very popular kind of British battleground in World War II. It'll be interesting to see whether when the Polish do arrive in the game later in the year, if this map gets reconfigured to feature the Polish instead of the British. But considering no British maps are set to arrive later this year, that would only leave the British with Alemain. So it's unlikely we'll see the proper boys on this map. Now, God forbid, we got those British guns. Now, this is when it gets really exciting. Now, the British is where we start getting the real controversial stuff. And I'm sad to it's a shame to report this. Team 17 and Black Matter, whichever made these, completely screwed up. It's a damn shame. It is genuinely astounding how badly these weapons are made. The sights are horrendous. All you have to do to see it is compare the Lewis gun to the Browning, MG34, MG42, and the DP27. You can't see anything. You're basically legally blind. And don't even get me started on that shocking Sten and Bren gun. The sights does not even fit within the game's art style and its approach to previous weapons. It's like if they kept the M1 Garand from their Kickstarter photos. Where's the depth of field on these bad boys? Not even to mention that the Sten's gun is a goddamn triangle so thick that it takes up half the aperture.
What? What the f***?
It's so bizarre that this got past their QA team. And then they have the audacity that, God forbid, you move left or right. The goddamn target part of that sight leaves the TV. That thing's in another country. Anyone using the Bren gun, you might as well turn off your console. You'll have a better chance of hitting a target. And then we go on to Loadouts and the odd distribution of these weapons. It's so bad it brings you to tears. The Pattern 14 Enfield should not be the standard issue rifle for the British when the Enfield number 4 is available. I love the inclusion of that gun, and the Lancaster and the Lewis gun. But apart from the Lewis gun, the other two are way too distributed, when the better options and more iconic weapons associated with the British are struggling to be represented in the game. It's like if for the United States, the Grease gun and Thompson switch loadouts, you just shake your head, scratch your head, shake your head. And what if the M1 Garand and Carbine switch? It's just a bizarre way and goes against industry standard. And we can't have that at all. And I really do love the inclusions of those, P14, Lancaster, weapons. I really do love them, In a World War II game, I think each faction should have the widest arsenal at their availability, because there's only so many times you can fire an M1 Garand, because before it's I've done this one too many times. So it's not the inclusion that's concerning, but their distribution, which leads to the whole underpowered feeling that the British exude.